There is a well-known fact in the NBA. The offspring of a supergiant cannot become a supergiant, but until someone appears. His name is Andrew Jordan. Keywords of the novel. NBA. Strongest star second generation no pop-ups, NBA. Strongest star second generation TXT complete collection download, NBA. Strongest star second generation latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Andrew Jordan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Andrew Jordan. Where is this? Sujia slowly opened his eyes, the dazzling light making him uncomfortable, and then a pungent smell came over. This familiar taste. Is this a hospital? After more than 10 seconds, Sujia finally got used to the light and could see clearly that there were two women wearing blue uniforms in his pupils, with hats covering their hair. However, these two women were a bit different, their eyes were actually light blue. Common sense tells him that this is the hospital. Why am I in the hospital? I just added 1 week of work, can I catch up on the plan? I remember last night when I was working overtime, I suddenly had difficulty breathing and a lot of cold sweat was sweating on my forehead, accompanied by a wave of pain. A few seconds later, Sujia became unconscious. This is the last memory of Sujia. Originally, I was saved. It seems that I need to thank my savior well. At this moment, sentences of English reached his ears. Sujia. Underscore. What English do you speak? This is domestic, not foreign. However, Sujia's English is average. Apart from being used during his student years, he also gives it to his teachers when he comes out of society. He doesn't quite understand what the two ladies said, but his accent is very pure, just like the voice in the listening section when taking an English exam. With a loud bang, Sujia's buttocks were suddenly hit. In an instant, the pain hit, and Sujia couldn't help but shout. The two ladies in front of them immediately smiled when they heard Sujia shout. Good hospital, please wait for me. Once I'm done, I will definitely file a complaint against you. Yes, what are the names of these two goods? They even spanked me just as Sujia was preparing to see the appearance of the two ladies clearly. One of the ladies picked him up directly and walked out. A soft touch strikes. As an experienced driver, Sujia immediately guessed the size of the lady in front of him. Wait, it was only then that Sujia realized how a big man could be held by a lady like a princess. Is this not scientific? Sujia quickly checked himself. I was startled by the result of not looking or knowing. Lying in bed, how did my body shrink? My hands, my feet, congratulations, we have given birth to a boy. As soon as the woman holding Sujia walked out of the surgical door, she was immediately surrounded by a group of people, and there was a giant of 2 meters in front of her. The woman quickly said. The giant shook his head and whispered in dissatisfaction, it's a boy again. You know, he already has 2 sons, and his third child wants a daughter, but unfortunately. But he can't control this kind of thing. So far, he can only accept this fate. The giant took the baby from the woman's hand and watched as it slept. He couldn't help but smile and murmured, welcome to our family. After speaking, he turned around and shouted, Jeffrey, Marcus, come over and take a look at your brother. As soon as the words fell, 2 black little boys rushed over. They had long known that their mother was planning to give them a playmate, and they were very excited. When they saw their younger brother, a bright smile appeared on their faces, and Marcus even said, Dad, I'm going to be my brother. By the way, Marcus, you want to be your brother, the giant replied with a smile. The next day, Sujia slowly opened his eyes and looked at the people around him, unable to help but be stunned. Why are there so many black skins? Then memories of yesterday flooded into my heart. Sujia. It seems that I am hanging up and then reborn, or reborn abroad. As for where Sujia is, I'm not sure. But let it be as it comes. By observing Sujia, I found out that I was actually the third child, and there were 2 older brothers on top, which were 2 niggers next to me. No, they're actually black ghosts. That old man is also a black ghost. Thinking of this, Su Jie inexplicably feels a bit sad. How will she go about picking up girls in the future? The reason why Su Jie became an experienced driver is certainly due to his handsome face. The result is good. Now back to before liberation. To cry without tears. Unconsciously, Su Jie felt sleepy again and fell asleep again. After a few days of trance, Su Jie was finally discharged from hospital, but these days he was in no mood at all and could not accept that he had changed his skin. At the moment of returning home, Su Jie suddenly became happy. Sleeping trough, it turns out that the family I was born into is so wealthy. Su Jie doesn't know how to describe it, he only knows one word is big. In an instant, Su Jie felt that even if he changed his skin, it was still worth it. As the saying goes, no matter how hard you try, it's better to be good at reincarnation. The starting point for many people is the end point for others. At this moment, Su Jie really felt it. Just as Su Jie was about to take a good look at this room, his 2 black brothers came to play with him again, bringing their own toys. If Su Jie could speak, he would definitely say, "Could you please calm down for a moment? I need my own private space." Obviously, the 2 of them are extremely passionate about their younger brother. The lady beside her, who was Su Jie's mother, watched as she gave birth to 3 sons, with a bright smile on her face, revealing a slow expression of love. After returning home for a few days, Su Jie wished he could walk quickly. He wanted to see how big his family was, and at the same time, Su Jie was curious about who his father was in this life. But after a few days, he didn't see his so-called father for 3 hours after waking up, which made Su Jie angry and speculate. Is my mother a mistress? I guess this lady knows how much her precious son thinks of her, so she will definitely beat his butt to pieces. Finally, one evening, Su Jie saw his so-called father. This black buttocks, without hair on the head, are bald. But why is this product so familiar? Sleeping slot, isn't this Jordan? Sleeping trough, is my dad the god of basketball? For a moment and a half, Su Jie was stunned. Just as Su Jie's appearance was caught by Jordan, he could not help but look at his wife and roast, "Why does she look dull and feel a bit stupid?" Juanita smiled and replied, "It's not normal, there are still children who will hear it. Be careful of him holding grudges." Is that right? Jordan couldn't help but laugh and take revenge. Is it possible? Jordan couldn't help but look over and saw USU staring at him. You're just stupid, whether you're the god of basketball or not. How dare you say that I'm stupid? See if I don't beat you to death. Su Jie lifted his small arms and legs, waving his paws at Jordan, resulting in damage. Miss. Ha ha ha. Jordan couldn't help but laugh at Su Jie's appearance. Su Jie. Laugh, wait for me. When I grow up, I will definitely beat you up. For the next 3 days, Su Jie could see Jordan's figure every day and often held him in her arms. Every time Su Jie wakes up, she sees Jordan's appearance. Su Jie held a grudge against the thief. As soon as he saw Jordan, his eyes would stare at him. Every time Jordan saw USU staring at him, he couldn't help but burst out laughing and said, with such a personality, he truly deserves to be my Jordan's son. Su Jie. You haven't named the child yet, Juanita couldn't help but remind. Jordan just came to his senses, by the way, I haven't named the child yet. Jordan thought for a moment and said, it's Andrew Jordan. A good name, then it's Andrew Jordan, Juanita agreed. No, I disagree. Su Jie's silent resistance was ineffective, and in the end, Su Jie's name for this life is Andrew Jordan. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. I'm back. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. I'm back. Time flows like the water of a river, rushing away. In just 3 years, the blink of an eye is fleeting. At this time, Su Jie should be called Andrew. Andrew is already 3 years old. In the past 3 years, many things have happened at home, and the most important thing is, of course, Andrew's father Jordan brought the Chicago Bulls to win 3 consecutive championships. But just as Jordan reached his peak, God seemed to be joking with him. His father was shot, which was a huge blow. In an instant, he was thrown back from heaven to hell. At the same time, it made Jordan realize that he was always under the spotlight and had no privacy with his family. His father's unexpected death made Jordan worried about his family's safety. He began to think about how to protect his family, and he had the idea of retiring. Of course, this retired seat actually existed a long time ago. Since Jordan entered the NBA league in 1984, he has been working hard for the NBA championship. In earlier stages of his career, he faced resistance from the Detroit Pistons' Bad Boys Legion. Later, with the assistance of Pippen, he led the Chicago Bulls to overcome many competitors and achieve a great feat of winning 3 consecutive championships. All the honors on the basketball court were won by Michael Jordan. Jordan seems to have no comparable competitors in the NBA anymore. It is difficult for the NBA to bring more new excitement to Jordan at the competitive airport, especially since he has a dream of playing baseball. As soon as this idea came out, Jordan couldn't help but discuss it with his family. Except for Andrew, who didn't speak, the rest of the family expressed their agreement. The support of his family made Jordan more certain of his retirement idea, but Jordan still turned his gaze to his youngest son Andrew. Despite his young age, he was very smart and spoke eloquently. "Andrew, how do you think Dad doesn't play basketball and goes to play baseball?" As Jordan finished speaking, his family looked at the youngest child on the scene. Andrew is still thinking about the reality of his grandfather's passing. Oh, life is unpredictable. He had already told his grandfather to pay attention to his own safety, and even not to leave the house if he had something to do. Grandpa certainly doesn't take this seriously, he just thinks that his grandson cares about him. I ended up meeting God. Andrew, your father called you. Jeffrey, Andrew's older brother sitting next to him, pushed and reminded Andrew. Andrew, who had regained his senses, complained, "Old man, what did my father ask me?" Fortunately, he changed his mind, otherwise it would be another chubby beating. Jordan couldn't help but laugh, he was mischievous. Andrew has always looked down on him since he was young, rebellious and unruly. Privately, he also refers to him as an old man, but in public places, even in crowded places, he still respectfully refers to himself as his father. Jordan likes Andrew's rebelliousness and sense of propriety. Like his opponents on the field, he wants to conquer them. Sometimes Jordan even wants Andrew to be his daughter. Andrew. Jordan smiled and said again, "Andrew, how do you think Dad doesn't play basketball and goes play baseball?" Andrew said, "Follow your own heart, but you belong to the basketball court." It seems that the old man is retiring for the first time. To be honest, the passing of a family member is indeed quite uncomfortable. Even if we don't have much time together, it's a bit uncomfortable, let alone the old man. Ha ha ha, little people make big ghosts. Andrew's words made Jordan burst into laughter. Andrew. I'm not young. Andrew silently lowered his head, looked down at himself, and murmured to himself, "It's indeed a bit small." So on October 6, 1993, Michael Jordan, who had just led the Chicago Bulls to create his first three-peat, suddenly announced his retirement at the age of 30. Fans, teammates, opponents, and even President David were dumbfounded. However, many opponents were overjoyed by Jordan's retirement. Over the past 3 years, he has worked too hard under his pressure, and many teammates have done the same, especially Pippen. He is tired of following behind Jordan and wants to become the leader of the Chicago Bulls, bringing them to the summit. Even CEO David quickly executed Plan B and created a new god. Unfortunately, everyone underestimated Jordan's impact on the NBA. Within 1 day of announcing his retirement, the Dow Jones Index plummeted by 125 points, and Jordan's sponsoring company Nike was also severely affected. Its stock price dropped by 4%, annual sales decreased by 30%, and more importantly, sales decreased by $250 million. It can be said that Jordan's retirement indirectly caused a moderate financial crisis in the United States, resulting in direct economic losses of up to $1 billion in Chicago and a sharp drop in the U.S. stock market. Andrew couldn't help but give the old man a thumbs up when he saw this. This is the god of basketball, and only after experiencing it can he understand the meaning of the old man to the NBA. The Chicago Bulls' record is not as good as before, and it is getting worse and worse. After losing Jordan, Pippen became the main starting point for the team. However, without Jordan, the Bulls are no longer the champions of the past, and in critical moments, no one can repeatedly pitch winning goals. In everyone's hearts, without Jordan, the Bulls are not considered true Bulls. For example, in the regular season match against the Hornets, the Bulls were 1 point behind in the first 7.5 seconds of the game, but the new starting shooting guard Mayers failed to hit the winning goal. After the game, Bulls player Grant said, "If our number 23 is still there, that ball will definitely score. But now he's not here, we have to study and stay grounded." At the same time, in the season after Jordan's retirement, only about 50% of the Chicago Bulls had a downward slide in attendance, and people were no longer enthusiastic about chasing the Chicago Bulls. Ticket prices were no longer skyrocketing, and the broadcast ratings of the game were even more dismal, with a direct decrease of about 4%. The market value of the entire Chicago Bulls plummeted due to Jordan's retirement. Jordan's retirement can be said to have set the thriving NBA back at least 10 years. After retiring, Jordan switched to playing baseball, and the result is self-evident that he is not suitable for playing baseball. At this moment, Jordan's former rival, Magic Johnson, knelt down on television to beg for Jordan's comeback to save the market. Fans cheered for Jordan's comeback, and Jordan was deeply moved by it. He began planting seeds and said, "Why not come back?" One day on the basketball court at home, he once again abused his 3 sons, especially the youngest son. Every time the youngest son shoots, he doesn't hesitate to block it. How he wished to see his youngest son cry, even plead with himself, and then he would show great mercy and vote for him. But Andrew's performance was beyond his expectations. Not only did he not cry or plead with himself, but he even became more and more brave in battle. Whispering. Andrew was powerless to lie on the floor. "Damn old man, wait for me. When I grow up, I will definitely torture you to death. I'm so angry." Andrew has loved playing basketball in his past life and used to be on the school team. However, since graduating and entering society, he has hardly ever played basketball again due to his 996 years. Not to mention playing basketball, sometimes watching an NBA game is a luxury. So Andrew waited for his body to run and jump, so he didn't hesitate to hold on to the basketball and play, and coincidentally, there was also a basketball court at home. And Andrew's 2 older brothers also enjoy playing basketball. Andrew plays basketball with his 2 older brothers almost every day. Of course, it's just children playing and shooting. But since the old man joined, it has been completely different. Andrew's hell has descended. Not only is it constantly covered, but it also occasionally gets sprayed with garbage. Andrew was so angry that he wanted to have a fight with the old man, but unfortunately he couldn't play basketball, let alone fight. //Andrew inexplicably remembered watching the anime, Prince of Tennis, and finally understood why Ryoma Ekizan was determined to defeat his father. "What's wrong? I don't have the strength, I just want you to eat more in your daily life." Jordan not only didn't come over to comfort me, but also came over to joke. Andrew angrily said, "Go away, old man." Ha ha ha. Jordan's hearty laughter echoed throughout the basketball court. Laughter reaches the ears, and the thief is piercing. Andrew got angry and got up from the ground, shouting at Jordan, "Old man, wait for me. When I grow up, I will definitely land in the NBA and break all your records one by one. Jordan didn't get angry but smiled and said, just you, little vegetable bird. That's right, it's the little rookie in front of you. In the future, he will win more championships than you, FMVP. Ha ha ha, then I'll make you despair. Although Jordan didn't believe it, he didn't want to be surpassed by his own son in the future. It was too embarrassing, so Jordan's heart seed took root and sprouted. On March 18, 1995, Jordan said, I'm back. The three major television stations in the United States, CBS, ABC, NBC, took turns broadcasting news of Jordan's comeback, and the media even described the impact of Jordan's comeback as comparable to a war. On that day, the stock prices of all companies associated with Jordan surged. Nike's increase was as high as 31%, Chicago was filled with posters of Jordan's comeback, and fans around the world were in celebration. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Little Marcus has the heart of Mende. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Little Marcus has the heart of Mende. The next day, Jordan's comeback press conference attracted the arrival of many media outlets, and the scene was packed with people. When Jordan's figure appeared, the media couldn't sit still, just like a bustling market. Jordan always responds friendly to media issues. But when Jordan heard a question from the media, he couldn't help but burst into laughter as his youngest son Andrew spoke beyond his control. All the media in the room looked at Jordan in unison, full of doubts. Why are you laughing? At the same time, the camera in their hands did not stop and clicked towards Jordan, who was smiling all over his face. Jordan put away his smile and said, of course, I am very grateful to Magic Johnson. You should know that Magic Johnson is a senior opponent that I greatly respect, as well as my fans. Every day and every second, I hear the news of fans cheering me back, which moves me very much. Finally, it made me make up my mind. Jordan couldn't help but pause. The media in the audience perked up their ears, afraid of missing any word. My overconfident son said that when he grows up, he will log into the NBA and win more championships and FMVPs than me. Who am I? I am Michael Jordan, and I am also a father. How could I allow such things to happen? So I came back. As soon as Jordan finished speaking, the media on site were very interested in Jordan's son and began to inquire. But Jordan didn't reveal anything next. Half an hour later, after the news conference, this matter spread through the internet and paper. The popularization of the internet was relatively early in foreign countries, starting in the 1980s, so, as Jordan's eldest son Jeffrey and second son Marcus received more attention, and even Michael, who was in school, couldn't help but hear his classmates ask him, is it possible to play in the NBA in the future and surpass your father? Jeffrey. Jeffrey said with a bewildered expression, where did I say such a thing? Even Marcus was asked this question by his friends' elders and even asked to cheer him on. Marcus also looked bewildered. They never thought about playing NBA, even surpassing their father Michael Jordan, they just wanted to play basketball happily. Then they returned home and couldn't help but complain to Juanita. After hearing this, Juanita wanted to comfort them. Before Juanita could speak, Andrew crawled out of nowhere and said, I'm sorry, Brother Jeffrey, Brother Marcus, it was my fault that caused you to be disturbed. At this moment, Jeffrey and Marcus couldn't help but think of what happened on the basketball court that day. Jeffrey patted Andrew's shoulder and said, it's okay, little brother. Big brother is not afraid. What should I do if my younger brother causes trouble? My older brother will take responsibility. In an instant, Jeffrey had no worries, and Marcus was no exception. Because from childhood to adulthood, Juanita has educated them very well, especially how to be a good big brother and a good little brother. For the youngest one in the family, Andrew. Jeffrey and Marcus, as brothers, naturally need to be pampered. Juanita couldn't help but laugh when she saw this scene. Smiling with a hint of bitterness, I wonder how long this day can last. The next day, Three children led Juanita to the Bankers Life Arena to cheer for Michael Jordan's first comeback. Michael Jordan's first comeback game was an away game against the Indiana Pacers. Jeffrey and Marcus in the audience were clearly very excited, while Andrew remained very calm. Andrew remembers being young and not very old. He was very excited when he first came to the stadium to watch a game, but he didn't feel much about it, especially since it was just a regular season. However, due to Michael Jordan's comeback, tonight the Bankers Life Arena was captured by Chicago Bulls fans, with 3/4 of them being Chicago Bulls fans. Watching the old man in the number 45 jersey warming up, Andrew inexplicably felt a bit hot-eyed. Although he knew the old man wanted to choose the number 45 jersey, Andrew had advised him, but if the old man didn't listen, he had no choice. The reason why the old man chose the number 45 jersey was because he wanted to start over, and the number 45 jersey was also the first number he played in high school. With the sound of the whistle, the match officially kicked off. However, Michael Jordan was in poor form throughout the game, playing for 43 minutes. He made 7 out of 28 shots, made 0 out of 4 from three-pointers, made 5 out of 6 free throws, and scored 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. The Chicago Bulls also lost 96.103 to the Indiana Pacers. After the game, Michael Jordan's mood was a bit low. Juanita kept comforting him, while Jeffrey and Marcus were silently by his side. As for Andrew standing silently on the side, because Andrew was very clear that God does not need comfort, he will come back, but it will take some time. Sure enough, in the following game, Jordan's form gradually recovered, even scoring 55 points in Madison Square Garden, shocking the world and causing those who questioned him to shut their mouths. In the remaining games of the regular season, Michael Jordan led the team to a record of 13 wins and 4 losses, finishing 5th in the Eastern Conference and entering the playoffs. In 17 games, he averaged 26.9 points, 6.9 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.8 steals per game. Jordan is still the top superstar in the league, but his problems with the team are gradually being exposed. In the first round of the playoffs, facing the young Hornets, Jordan averaged 32.3 points, 6.5 rebounds, 5.8 assists, and 2 steals per game, leading the Bulls to easily eliminate their opponent's 3.1. However, in the second round, facing a younger and more powerful Magic, the Bulls were eliminated after losing 2.4 to the Magic. In the second round of the showdown, although Jordan averaged 31 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 2.5 steals, and 1.8 blocks per game, his physical problems were targeted by the Magic, and he found it difficult to drive the team through a series like in the past, feeling a bit powerless. The reason behind this is that after his first retirement, Jordan did not engage in basketball training during the 2 years he played baseball, resulting in insufficient physical reserves after his comeback. Especially in high-intensity games, opponents frequently target Jordan, making it difficult to compete with them without sufficient physical strength, and losing their previous dominance. At the same time, the team underwent significant changes compared to before Jordan's retirement. In the 93.94 season, after Jordan's retirement, the Bulls, led by Pippen, achieved an impressive record of 55 wins and 25 losses, and played all the way to the Eastern Conference semifinals before ultimately losing 7 games against the Knicks. Despite failing to defend their title, Pippen and the Bulls deserve recognition and respect. Then during the 1994 offseason, the important rotating players who won the championship left one by one, causing players such as Horace Grant, Scott Williams, and Bill Cartwright to decline the overall strength of the team. Although they have brought in Luke Langley and Bill Winnington, they are only blue-collar workers and do not provide much help to the team on the offensive end. And center Wilberto is just a blue-collar character, making it difficult to compete with teams with top-notch interiors. In this situation, the Bulls mainly rely on Pippen to lead the team, as well as the well-performing B.J. Armstrong and sophomore Kukoc, but it is also difficult to win. Before Jordan's comeback, the Chicago Bulls had only achieved a record of 31 wins and 30 losses, and entering the playoffs was in jeopardy. After losing the game, Jordan planted the seeds of revenge and will fight back next season. And Andrew was very satisfied with the result, so the old man didn't have time to abuse him. During the off-season, Jordan not only focused on his own training, but also placed great emphasis on his team. He invited the team to his home for a party and had them all bring their families. In the bustling home, Andrew was a bit bored. He didn't want to play with the little kid, so he silently sat by with food and drinks. At this moment, Marcus walked over and said, "Brother, why are you sitting here?" "It's nothing, the scenery here is even more beautiful," Andrew replied while eating. Marcus looked around but didn't find anything beautiful. However, Marcus still sat next to Andrew with his younger brother, and then he said, "Brother, you know I just saw a beautiful sister, and I will have such a beautiful sister when I grow up." "Ah. Beautiful sister?" Andrew asked curiously, "Who is it?" Marcus extended his finger and only showed Andrew, "That's it." Andrew looked in the direction of Marcus. A devilish and provocative figure, with large wavy golden curls emitting a dazzling light, and slender thighs wearing a goose-yellow ultra-short mini-skirt, showcasing a perfect and unparalleled figure. "It's really beautiful." Andrew couldn't help but nod. It seemed that his second brother had a good eye, but when Andrew saw the person standing next to him, it was actually Pippin, and the two of them had intimate behavior. Sleeping trough, is this the Pippin woman LS heir? Andrew looked at his second brother Marcus with a speechless expression. It turned out that his second brother had been interested in LS heir so early, but little Marcus had not grown up, otherwise he might have gone to compete with Pippin. However, Andrew said he couldn't handle this matter. It's difficult to talk about this emotional matter and it depends on himself. Surprisingly, second brother liked it, so Andrew had to silently cheer for second brother. However, Andrew really wanted to see how LS called the old man at that time, which was interesting. At this thought, Andrew couldn't help but show a strange smile. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Son, want to surpass me in the next life? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Son, want to surpass me in the next life. Defense. 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 Located at the Delta Center Arena in Salt Lake City, the NBA Finals G6 is currently taking place here. Previously, the Utah Jazz were trailing 2.3 and on the edge of a cliff. They played very hard in this game, crushing the Chicago Bulls throughout the game. Even took a 3-point lead with an 86.83 lead in 41.9 seconds before the end. In an era of low-turn tug-of-war and emphasis on defense, achieving a 3-point lead in the end is considered a safe bet. Unfortunately, their opponent is the basketball god Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan completed the layup in just 4.2 seconds, and then decisively gave up Jeff Hornacek, who had a 40.3% 3-point shooting percentage in his career, on the defensive end and chose to sandwich the inside Malone. With a loud bang, Michael Jordan quickly snatched the ball from Malone's hand with a quick eye. After the steal, Michael Jordan quickly advanced to the front court. At this moment, the fans at the Delta Center Arena couldn't sit still. If the ball was hit by Michael Jordan, it would be ruined. Tearing open his throat and shouting with all his might, "Defend!" 10, 9, 8 Jordan suddenly started, holding the ball in his right hand and rushing towards the center, reaching the distance of the penalty line. Jordan pulled back and made a quick stop. Instantly knocked down defensive player Russell. Take off in mid-air. The ball swept a beautiful arc in the air. With a swoop, at a medium distance. Reversed the score. 87.86 Jordan reached his limit with his final attack and defense, sealing his throat with a single blow and killing the game directly. Although the Jazz had one more chance in the end, unfortunately their luck had run out, and John Stockton, despite his defensive three-pointers, failed to make a shot. In the end, the Chicago Bulls, led by Jordan, once again won 3 consecutive championships. Two dynasties, unprecedented in history, it is unclear who will come later. Winning 3 consecutive championships once again established Michael Jordan's position in basketball. It was not easy to win the away game against Utah in the finals of this game. The away Bulls have always been at a disadvantage, and Scott Pippen only played 26 minutes due to injury. The Bulls only had Jordan and Tony Kukoc scoring double, while Jordan alone scored 45 out of the team's 87 points. That's Jordan. Even Andrew had to be conquered, the audience cheered excitedly. Although the old man laughed at himself when he was born and abused himself every day on the basketball court, he is like a god on the basketball court, and the name of basketball is truly true. While winning 3 consecutive championships once again, the Chicago Bulls, the master of the dynasty, are about to face dissolution. In fact, this season, the Bulls were once in the shadow of failure. They have experienced too many injury problems, and many players in the team have expired contracts, causing conflicts between players and management. At this moment, Jordan stood up and said, "Let's not think about anything. After winning the 3rd championship, we'll decide for ourselves what to do." So the entire Bulls team worked together and won their 2nd three-peat in team history. After winning the championship, the Bulls scattered in a panic. Jordan, due to contract issues with the team and a much lower level of desire for victory, once again had the idea of retiring. Pippen chose to leave the Bulls to prove to the world that without Jordan, he could still win the championship. Coincidentally, the NBA experienced another suspension, and NBA management requested to limit the high income of top players. Despite unsuccessful negotiations, the league was ultimately suspended, further confirming Jordan's plan to retire. At this moment, Andrew approached the old man again and said, "Old man, I knew you couldn't win the championship without Uncle Pippen." Upon hearing these words, proud Jordan couldn't help but feel a little angry and said, "Nonsense. Well, isn't there Uncle Pippen next season? Can you prove it to me?" Upon hearing this, Jordan immediately realized what a provocative move it was. He probably heard some rumors. Jordan smiled and said, "Don't try to use provocative tactics. I won't change my idea of retiring." "Oh. Whatever you want, it won't be what people say then." A hint of doubt appeared on Jordan's face. What did he say? What basketball god, what history first, without Pippen, he's nothing. After speaking, Andrew immediately retreated, estimating that the old man was about to explode. As expected, just a few seconds after Andrew ran away, the old man roared, "Andrew, come back to me. Come back with a hammer and want to hit my butt again, there's no way." Andrew decisively ran to the second brother's room and locked it, staying for over an hour, waiting for the old man to calm down before going out. An hour later, Andrew slowly opened the door and tiptoed out, looking left and right without noticing the old man's figure. So Andrew relaxed and it seemed that the old man was not at home. But when he arrived at the living room and sat down, the old man crawled out of nowhere and grabbed Andrew's collar. "Why, old man? Beat you?" Jordan didn't say much and hit Andrew's butt directly. Pop 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 pop. The pain made Andrew burst into tears. "It hurts so much, old man. Please wait for me." Andrew silently added another sentence to the old man's crime, waiting for the opportunity and settling the accounts later in the autumn. As the saying goes, it is not too late for a gentleman to seek revenge. "Andrew, next season my dad will let you know that even without Pippen, I can still bring the Chicago Bulls to win the championship. Keep your eyes open and watch for me," Jordan said as his aura surged forward. After hearing this, Andrew's mouth slightly curled up, and it was worth the beating. Andrew believes he wants to take Jordan's resume to the next level. "Surprisingly, I have won 3 consecutive championships. It's not too much to win 4 consecutive championships. Plus, there is still no Pippen situation. If we win the championship again, it's not blocking some kind of nonsense. Me likes to say that he surpasses Kobe with 1 championship and Jordan with 2 championships." Andrew. Super sister, stay on the side. Although he didn't play well with the old man, he had to admit that he had achieved extraordinary success in basketball, not allowing the contamination of ordinary people. Andrew swore that he would personally strangle these remarks. Jordan, who decided to play another season, immediately stabilized his head coach Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson knew that Jordan was very persistent and said he would definitely retire. He couldn't help but ask curiously how to change his approach. Jordan told Phil Jackson in detail about his conversation with Andrew. Phil Jackson laughed heartily upon hearing this. I see. Alright, then I'll play with you for another year. The most important thing is that Phil Jackson doesn't mind having too many championships. He's not wearing them all yet. Keeping Phil Jackson, Jordan also kept many championship teams, especially Rodman. The rebellious Rodman refused to obey, so he obeyed Jordan. Jordan's retention, Rodman did not hesitate to stay. So, after Pippen left, Jordan continued his journey towards the 7th championship with the brand new Chicago Bulls. During the shutdown period, Andrew came out to cause trouble again and gave the old man advice. Old man, you're old and not strong enough. You should pitch more three-pointers, after all, three-pointers are more than two-pointers. Jordan was instantly displeased after hearing this. You said who is getting old. Andrew walked a step late and his butt was about to bloom again. Every day after Jordan's training, Andrew would stand by the sidelines watching, looking forward to the unknown results of the new season. And Jordan couldn't help but fall into contemplation after listening to Andrew's words. Andrew's words are not without reason. He is almost 36 years old, and his physical function is definitely declining compared to before. At the same time, he doesn't have Pippen, so I must reduce my consumption on the offensive end. 3 points is indeed 1 point more than 2 points. So Jordan really started practicing three-pointers during the shutdown, adding a weapon to his arsenal. Andrew at the edge of the court saw this and his mouth slightly curled up. Although the old man is stubborn, he is not stupid. Who said the old man doesn't know how to score 3 points? What kind of joke is that? Let's show you a brand new old man. On January 20th, 1999, the suspension finally came to an end and the new season was about to begin. In the new season, Jordan has brought everyone a new look, but at the same time, it has become even more troublesome for defensive players. Jordan, who mainly focuses on mid-range, has started shooting three-pointers. You should know that in the previous season, Jordan averaged 1.13 pointers and 0.43 pointers per game, with a 3-point shooting percentage of 31.2%. In the first game of the new season, Jordan made 4 out of 7 3-pointers and had a high 3-point shooting percentage of 57%, scoring 31 points and bringing the team a good start. At the same time, Jordan also found that once he pitched three-pointers accurately, it made his breakthrough more sharp. An average of 33.2 points, 6.8 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 1.7 steals per game, he once again won the regular season scoring championship, his 11th career goal, and brought the Chicago Bulls to the top of the Eastern Conference with a record of 34 wins and 16 losses. In the first round of the playoffs, they faced the Milwaukee Bucks and swept them 3-0. In the second round, facing the Orlando Magic without O'Neal, they easily defeated the Orlando Magic 4-1 under the leadership of Jordan and advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. In the Eastern Conference Finals, facing the Miami Heat, the Chicago Bulls still did not face much test and still won 4-1. The Chicago Bulls have once again entered the stage of the NBA Finals, which makes Pippen, who joined the Rockets, envious and jealous. Pippen's Rockets were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs alone. The opponent in the Chicago Bulls Finals is the San Antonio Spurs. The Chicago Bulls, who had no opponents in the Eastern Conference, were hit hard in the G1 of the NBA Finals, losing 77.89 to the San Antonio Spurs and losing G1. The Chicago Bulls were completely exposed on the inside, and Tim Duncan couldn't defend at all. The Chicago Bulls suffered even worse in the second game, scoring only 67 points and ultimately losing 67.80 to the San Antonio Spurs again. The first time in the finals, they fell behind 0.2. This makes the proud Chicago Bulls feel extremely frustrated. Is the championship about to be ended? Jordan. Who said that? In the third game, Jordan exploded, making 21 out of 35 shots, 4 out of 8 three-pointers, and 6 out of 6 free throws, scoring 52 points and leading the team back to the city. In the fourth game, Jordan once again scored an astonishing 45 points, leading the team to 2 consecutive innings with a total score of 2.2, and both sides returned to the starting point once again. In the Battle of the Heavenly Kings, Jordan finally waited for his teammates to stand up, 96.89, with 7 points to take the next game and a total score of 3.2 leading. Tim Duncan. It won't just end like this. In the G6, Tim Duncan dominated both offense and defense, scoring 30 points, 19 rebounds, and 6 assists throughout the game to save the team on the brink of death, bringing the total score to 3.3. The Battle of the Seven, which was also Jordan's only Battle of the Seven. Before the game, Jordan couldn't help but laugh. It would be great if I could still be a few years younger. Nowadays, there are many new generations in the league, including San Antonio, Tim Duncan, Philadelphia 76ers Iverson, Minnesota Timberwolves Garnett, and Lakers Kobe Bryant. It's a pity that I couldn't teach them how to be good people. In the seventh battle, both sides fought until the last moment. In the final moments, Jordan finished the series with a three-pointer, with a total score of 4.3, winning the 98.99 championship and completing his fourth consecutive championship. At the same time, Jordan also increased his championship and FMVP to 7. After the game, Jordan even joked in front of the media, "Son, you want to surpass me in the next life." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Growth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Growth Cut. Andrew paid no attention to the old man's words. He is still growing according to his own plan, basketball, and he will gradually train. He doesn't want to become the next Newman. Andrew remembers very clearly that there was a genius born in his past life, and his name was Newman. The media called him a once-in-a-century basketball prodigy. He was 135 years tall in 5th grade and could surpass middle school. At the age of 11, he entered the high school team to play basketball. At the age of 12, he scored 3 doubles, and at 13, he scored 91 points in 3 quarters. At 14, he scored an unprecedented 1,000 points in the high school league. His father gave him devilish basketball training at the age of 3, with 200 jump shots, 200 throw shots, and 100 free throws every day. In addition, he also received a lot of physical training. Newman's training video instantly became popular on the internet, and many professional players looked up to it. Newman has also been invited to appear on many well-known programs, and his popularity has reached its peak. Perhaps due to his young fame, he is full of anger and arrogance, the selfish football style, unpleasant character design, and the arrogant and domineering scenes on the field are everywhere. The most famous game was one that caused a sensation by bullying white young players. Newman won but lost his character, and then there were frequent conflicts on the field. The good times didn't last long. Newman hasn't grown since his height reached 170, and he knows very well when playing basketball. Lack of height is fatal for basketball. After Newman transferred to his father's preschool in his senior year of high school, the team arranged many games for the top teams in the United States. However, facing high-intensity defense, taller players, and flashy dribbling that couldn't pass people, spinning in place consumed physical energy. Even if it passes through, the shooting percentage is average, and the defensive end is riddled with a height of 170, playing in the first position without top-notch field vision. The media no longer focused their attention on Newman, and soon he disappeared. The biggest reason for Newman's disappearance was his height, partly due to his genes, and partly due to the devilish training he had during his childhood. Excessive exercise can cause high levels of tension in the skeletal muscles, leading to insufficient blood supply and spinal hypoxia, as well as a need for a large amount of nutrients to be consumed. As a living example, Andrew doesn't want to be a dwarf. How to play basketball without height, so Andrew is asking the old man's training team to develop a training plan suitable for his age. In addition to training, Andrew often watches the old man's videotapes. If he wants to learn basketball skills, he must be learning from the old man. Even Andrew occasionally pulled the old man to analyze how to do this action. Every time at this moment, the old man would joke and say, "Didn't he say he wanted to surpass me? Why do you still need me to teach?" Andrew didn't take it seriously and said calmly, "Then I'll go find Uncle Pippin. If Uncle Pippin asks me how I came to find him and doesn't find Dad, I'll answer like this. I think Uncle Pippin's skills are better than Dad's." Can the old man bear to hear this? "Fuck, Pippin is more skilled than me, he's going away." The old man immediately taught Andrew without saying a word. Andrew's mouth curved slightly. Hold on. The old man does not allow his basketball to be provoked at all. Once there is any, he will personally push him down. According to the training plan and the old man's 1.1 guidance, Andrew's football skills skyrocketed day and month. The old man did not feel threatened at all, but was very happy about it. It seemed that Andrew was more talented than his two brothers. In Jordan's view, his eldest son Jeffrey and second son Marcus inherited some of his basketball talents, but did not inherit his personality on the court. Firm determination, confidence, and strong desire to win. They only believed that basketball made them happy, playing happy basketball. Jordan was not very optimistic about this, as they could play in the NBA. However, Jordan did not force them to play in the NBA. But Andrew, the youngest son, is completely different. His talent is even higher than his two brothers, and he can teach almost all basketball skills at once. At the same time, he completely inherits his personality on the court, especially his indomitable spirit. Every time he abused him, he was completely exhausted, and the next day he recovered. Jordan couldn't help but think of his opponents in his career, and after being almost abused by himself, he would cast a shadow over himself. And the youngest son Andrew in front of me had nothing at all. In Jordan's view, if Andrew grows up without any surprise, he will play in the NBA. Jordan expressed great anticipation. Andrew not only spends time on basketball, but also on studying. Although he was reborn without a golden finger, Andrew found that he had a particularly strong learning ability in this life. As long as he learned once, he would never forget how useful this talent was. In his past life, Andrew was very envious. Andrew remembers very well that in his third year of high school, there was a classmate in his class who never did homework and always slept in class. However, he always ranked first in the TM exam, which was like a pig's heart. In the end, he even became the top scorer in the province during the college entrance examination. And Andrew studied hard, only 553 in the college entrance examination, just crossing the line for a first-tier university. People compare themselves to death. At that moment, Andrew realized that learning also requires talent. Coincidentally, there is a feeling of being a top student in this world. In 2007, at the age of only 15, Andrew was admitted to Stanford University with full marks. This caused a lot of sensation. After all, Andrew was the son of a celebrity, so he came for interviews and recorded programs, but Andrew refused all of them. Wasting time, where does he have time for interviews and recording programs? In college, he set two goals for himself. The first to graduate smoothly, and the second to bring his team to win the NCAA championship. After all, the old man once won the NCAA championship. Jordan represented the University of North Carolina in 1982 and ultimately helped the 63.62 team defeat Georgetown University, winning the NCAA championship that year. This game also made Jordan the University of the Year. The media couldn't interview Andrew, so they had to go and interview Jordan. Jordan was very willing. After all, compared to his old rival's sons, his son was still much better. After retiring, Jordan's business was thriving, with his personal brand AJ. As the most famous personal brand in sports history, Jordan AJ made a lot of money. Until now, the total sales of sneakers named after Jordan reached 1.75 billion yuan. Jordan is not only at ease in business, but also emotionally. In fact, Jordan and his wife Juanita have long gone their separate ways. In 2006, the two officially signed a divorce agreement. According to the prenuptial agreement, Jordan paid Juanita a breakup fee plus child support, totaling up to 170 million yuan. In 2007, Jordan met the Cuban model Pluto, who had beautiful features and graceful figure. Jordan had to pursue Pluto passionately, and in the end, he successfully held on to the beautiful woman. Andrew couldn't help but tease the old man, saying, "Old cows eat tender grass." Jordan is actually 15 years older than Pluto. Jordan immediately retorted, "What do you know, virgin?" Jordan knew his youngest son was still a virgin, so he didn't hesitate to retort. Andrew. Grass, it must be Marcus. Damn Marcus, next time I see you, make sure to eat canned herring. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. I'm here, NBA. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. I'm here, NBA. On April 6, 2010, at the Lucas Oil Arena in Indianapolis, the final dance of March was being held. Butler University vs. Stanford University. The last 8.8 seconds remaining in the game time resulted in a 79.79 draw between the two sides. The final attack belongs to Stanford University. The head coach of Stanford University called for a pause and deployed the final offensive strategy. In fact, the head coach of Stanford University did not have any offensive strategy, but directly handed the ball to Andrew. At this moment, the head coach of Stanford University is very excited because it has been a long time since the last time Stanford University men's basketball team won the championship, 1942, so long that everyone has forgotten that Stanford University was also a strong team in the past. In recent years, Stanford University has given people the impression of being a top-tier university. Stanford University, one of the most renowned institutions of higher education in the world, is a mathematical powerhouse with numerous Nobel laureates, and an incubator for numerous super-talented companies outside of Silicon Valley. The first impression of Stanford in the eyes of the general public is that it is an academic powerhouse that has cultivated countless elites from various sectors of society. But in fact, Stanford University combines academia with sports to achieve such excellence and perfection. The sport strength of the athletes trained by Stanford is not only stronger than that of the United States, but also shines on the Olympic field. Throughout history, Stanford has produced a total of 335 athletes who have participated in the Olympics and have won 243 Olympic medals. Taking the 2008 BJ Olympics as an example, a total of 48 current and previous athletes trained by Stanford University represented their 8 countries in the Olympics, exceeding the number of athletes sent by any other university in the United States. These athletes won a total of 25 medals, 3 of which were won by student athletes who were still in school that year. Secondly, Stanford University currently has 36 sports and teams, including 20 women's events and 16 men's events, including almost all common competitive sports such as rugby, basketball, volleyball, football, tennis, golf, baseball, swimming, diving, athletics, gymnastics, etc., with a total of about 850 student athletes. This quantity is also among the top among all universities in the United States. Most of the top 300 universities in the NCAA's top tier have only about 10 sports programs, and Stanford University's sports programs and teams are almost 2 to 3 times larger than other universities. Rugby, men's basketball, and women's basketball are generally considered the most prestigious and highly anticipated college sports in the United States, and their level of attention is also ranked in this order. Throughout the more than 300 top-tier universities in the NCAA, there are very few universities that can rank among the top in 2 or more of these 3 categories at the same time. Stanford University's signature sports over the years have been rugby and women's basketball. Although men's basketball has always been at the upper middle level among top-tier NCAA universities, it is not considered Stanford's traditional strength. So at this moment, the head coach of Stanford University was so excited, and his gaze couldn't help but turn to Andrew, who was replenishing his fluids. He reached out and patted Andrew's shoulder, saying, "Andrew, I'll give you the final attack, and the rest of my teammates will open up enough space for you. You can showcase yourself to the fullest." Andrew nodded solemnly. Then I looked at the large screen on the ceiling of the court, just one step away from the goal. I had to complete it before entering the NBA, and Andrew couldn't help but clench his fists at the thought. This is Andrew's 3rd time participating in the NCAA. Andrew couldn't help but recall his freshman year scene. On his first day joining the school team, he exploded the strongest player on the team, which shocked the entire school team. Who is he? In fact, Andrew was very low-key before going to college, and he had never even played in an open high school league. Usually, he would play in the 5v5 of his brother's school team, or go to the streets to play, and even take the old man to a 1-on-point-1 battle. Although the old man has retired, he is still young and there is no problem with abusing him. However, as he gets older and his skills become more mature, it becomes increasingly difficult for the old man to abuse him. Sometimes, the old man even cheats. Even if there is no foul, the old man insists on committing a foul, regaining possession of the ball, and trying again. Meanwhile, Andrew is very clear that indecent development is the most important thing. He is not a peacock, so he doesn't need to frequently unfold his green feathers. After investigation, it was known that he was actually the son of basketball god Jordan, which made Andrew even more popular. Many teammates even wanted to bribe Andrew and ask for an old man's autograph. Andrew firmly refused this. What a joke. If he goes to the old man to ask for his signature, he will probably be teased by the old man for a week. No, it's a month. He doesn't want it. A guy named Agate Nolan in the team even introduced his sister to Andrew for this. Andrew. Is the old man's signature so valuable? Compared to the excitement of the players, the head coach is also very excited because finally a reliable ace has joined the team. As a result, Andrew insisted on only playing as a substitute for the first year. In an instant, the head coach's smile disappeared. Substitute. Why? Andrew immediately explained to the head coach before he reluctantly accepted. At this moment, Andrew is only 15 years old, and in another month he will be 16 years old. His opponent is at least 2.3 years older than him. Andrew doesn't want this period of optimal development to have any impact, so he decided to play as a substitute to help his body adapt to the NCAA. Andrew, who came on as a substitute in his freshman year, averaged 15 minutes per game, contributing 8.8 points, 2.3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 0.7 steals. The team was eliminated in the first round of March Madness. In his sophomore year, Andrew was noticeably taller and physically stronger. This semester, he started playing as a starter, and under his leadership, Stanford University made it to the NCAA semifinals for the first time. Unfortunately, he lost to the University of North Carolina in the semifinals and was unfortunately eliminated. Only a year has passed, and Andrew averaged 24.6 points, 4.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals, and 0.9 blocks per game. And the name Andrew Jordan instantly swept across the United States. Besides his own reasons, he is more importantly Michael Jordan's son. The frenzy of fame did not affect Andrew's gradual progress at all. Even in his sophomore semester, he has completed all the courses in college and can apply for graduation in advance, but what? He lost in March of Madness. So he didn't apply for graduation in advance, he has to study for a year. Afterwards, Andrew devoted all his energy to training, and the soaring ball skills made Jordan a bit hesitant. Every time Andrew called Jordan to play, Jordan would find reasons to push him away. Jordan has never been so timid in basketball before. But there's no way, he's already 47 years old. Facing his eldest and second sons, he can still abuse them, but facing his youngest son Andrew, time does not spare people. Jordan refused to fight, and Andrew was so angry that he wanted to put Jordan on the field and face him on point one. In his junior year, with Andrew averaging 33.5 points, 6.7 rebounds, 7 assists, 2.3 steals, and 1 block per game, Stanford University reached the final of March Madness, just one step away from the championship. Beep. The pause ends and the whistle rings. Both players return to the field. Stanford University served in the front court and the ball was smoothly passed to Andrew. Andrew dribbled the ball to the top of the arc, while the rest of Stanford University players opened up, giving Andrew enough attacking space. 7, 6, 5, 4 under the gaze of the whole field, Andrew moved, holding the ball in his right hand and facing the defender with his left shoulder, pushing the defender all the way up to the distance of the free throw line. Pull the ball back quickly, accurately, and fiercely. The defensive player wanted to pounce, but he lost his center of gravity and fell to the ground. Desperate eyes watched Andrew jump and take action. The ball made a beautiful arc in the air and with a swoop, it landed steadily in the pocket of the basket. At the same time, the competition time was also cleared to 0. Ah ah ah. Ah ah ah. Ah ah ah. The entire Lucas Oil Arena in Indianapolis was filled with deafening cheers. On the stage of the NCAA Finals, there was a final kill, which was the best script. On site and in front of the TV, the kidney hormones of the fans skyrocket, stimulating. Did you see that? The person who won the final game is my son, Andrew. Even Jordan, who was watching the game on site, exclaimed excitedly to the fans beside him. At this moment, Jordan is extremely proud. Andrew, who scored the goal, had a winning smile on his face, raised his hands high, and shouted, "I'm here, NBA." End of this chapter. Chapter 7. I look forward to that day's arrival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. I look forward to that day's arrival. Andrew's ultimate victory, leading Stanford University to win the 2010 NCAA championship, once overshadowed the NBA's popularity, and even the arrival of the NBA playoffs is still under discussion among fans. Especially after winning the game, Andrew called out to me, "NBA." Fans are eagerly anticipating seeing Andrew's figure in the NBA next season. Even many teams have started recruiting Andrew, regardless of his strength. Traffic is a lever, and no boss doesn't like money. Since Jordan's retirement, the Chicago Bulls have made a comeback to the pre-liberation era. Without Jordan, they would have been a tough team. Although he was selected as the top scorer Ross in 2008 and slightly recovered, it did not meet the Chicago Bulls' goal. Jordan really made their appetite too strong. After Andrew was born, Chicago Bulls fans have been paying attention to the son of the king who once led them to the pinnacle. After Andrew's ultimate victory, he said those 5 words, and Chicago Bulls fans were excited and asked the management to do something. Even to recruit Andrew to join, Chicago Bulls fans went to the streets to parade. Things were a bit out of control, and in the end, the management spoke up. During the off-season, they will fully pursue Andrew. This is how it calms the hearts of the fans. However, it is expected to disappoint Chicago Bulls fans, as Andrew has never considered Chicago Bulls, as it is the place where the old man has played, so he does not want to go. He wants to go to his own team and lead that team to the peak. Except for the Chicago Bulls, many rebuilt teams are recruiting Andrew. Andrew is not particularly anxious about this and insists on deciding which team to go to. He will choose several teams for practical training and continue to train to enhance his strength. Going to the NBA, strength is the most solid backing. Of course, in addition to training, Andrew will continue to monitor the NBA playoffs. Andrew remembers very clearly that this season's NBA Finals were hailed as one of the most exciting finals in the NBA, with each game being a life-and-death battle. Exciting. Time slowly passed without any surprises, and the NBA Finals were played between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics. Under Kobe's leadership, the Los Angeles Lakers took the lead and won their first game 102.89, with a total score of 1.0. Following G2, Ray Allen exploded, making 8 out of 11 three-pointers and scoring 32 points throughout the game. He led the Boston Celtics to a 103.94 victory, bringing the total score back to 1.1. At this moment, the Boston Celtics have a very clear advantage because the next 3 games will be their home ground. The TD North Bank Garden Arena is known as the Devil's Stadium, with a long history that not only gives every player who plays for the team a determined green blood, but also cultivates a group of loyal and passionate fans. Every team that wants to challenge Boston's authority will be met with boos from Green Army fans. Despite this, Kobe still led the Los Angeles Lakers to a fresh start, scoring a game-high of 29 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks in the G3, leading the team to a difficult 91.84 victory with a total score of 2.1. But next, the Boston Celtics used their home advantage to board 2 consecutive games, and in both games, the Los Angeles Lakers did not score more than 90 points. The total score is 2.3 behind, with 1 foot on the edge of the cliff. Returning to Staples, the Los Angeles Lakers played their strongest defense, defending the Boston Celtics to only 69 points and stubbornly dragging the game into the 7th game. In the 7th battle, from the beginning of the game, both sides were not willing to give in, and the score was very tight. The fans on site were grand and didn't dare to breathe, let alone go to the restroom, afraid of missing out on the exciting part. The time came to 1 minute and 30 seconds, and with Paul Pierce assisting Rasheed Wallace in hitting the crucial 3-point shot, the difference was reduced to only 3 points left. Next, the most crucial attack for the Los Angeles Lakers will definitely be handed over to the king of the Los Angeles Lakers. Kobe Bryant. Kobe grabbed the ball from the left 3-point line, Rasheed Wallace came forward to block and sandwich, Kobe dribbled the ball into the middle, then passed it to Artest. He thought about making a move and then holding the ball again. As a result, Artest took a probing step towards Pierce, then took off and took a 3-point shot. With a swoop, the ball fell precisely into the pocket of the basket. Big heart. The crucial 3-point shot. Instantly, the Lakers widened their lead by another 6 points. Subsequently, Ray Allen also had a big heart and immediately responded with color and 3 points. Unfortunately, the Boston Celtics are not only facing the Los Angeles Lakers, but also have time. In the end, the Los Angeles Lakers maintained their lead until the end of the game. Kobe excitedly threw the ball into the air, finally completing his revenge 2 years ago. This is also Kobe's 5th championship in his career. Andrew watched Kobe excitedly on TV and couldn't help but feel a bit envious. Let's train. Andrew shook his head and envied the hammer. Let's train instead. After the NBA Finals, the media's attention couldn't help but shift to the upcoming draft at Madison Square Garden. Who will Andrew fall for? Even Jordan couldn't help but care about which team his son would go to, so he curiously asked. Response received as a result. Secret. Jordan. Forget it, Jordan didn't originally come to Andrew for this matter, he just asked by the way. Jordan looked at Andrew seriously and said, Andrew, I officially invite you to become the spokesperson for AJ. As soon as the words fell, Andrew decisively refused before Jordan could produce the prepared contract. Why, don't you take a look at the quotation? Old man, do you think I'm short of money? Andrew smiled and looked at Jordan. Even if Jordan didn't give him pocket money, he still had Juanita, after all, Juanita had a share of $160 million when she divorced, and most importantly, he didn't spend much on it. In this context, money is just a number for Andrew. Jordan is a bit speechless. Can my son be short of money? Let's not see who his father is, he's the basketball god Jordan. Thinking of this, Jordan's face showed a hint of pride. Andrew then said, "Give up, old man. I won't go to the brand you endorse or the team you've played for. I'll find my own team, my own brand, and surpass you." Upon hearing these words, Jordan couldn't help but laugh, and his idea of signing his son Andrew died instantly. "I'm looking forward to that day," Jordan said, but his heart felt uneasy. "If you want to surpass me, in the next life," he said, 11 scoring championships, 11 NBA best lineups, 10 NBA best defensive lineups, 3 NBA steals, 7 championships, and 7 FMVPs. My career total score is 31,629 points, my career total rebounds are 6,322, and my career total assists are 5,298. In this life, Jordan did not have a Wizards comeback for 2 years, so his total score, total rebounds, and total assists are slightly less than in his previous life. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. I'm Here, the New York Knicks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. I'm Here, the New York Knicks. On June 24, the 2010 draft at Madison Square Garden officially kicked off. Originally, this draft was just a small year, and the attention could only be average. However, due to Andrew's inherent popularity, this draft was flourishing, and Jordan, as Andrew's father, also attended the event in person. When the media and players on site saw Jordan's arrival, they were all excited. "This is the basketball god Jordan. Andrew, don't envy me." Jordan still joked about his son Andrew. Andrew. I'm not angry, not angry. In an instant, Jordan was surrounded by everyone. "Jordan, do you think your son Andrew can become the top scorer? Jordan, are you here to support your son? Jordan, Andrew, who said he surpassed you back then, right?" Jordan smiled and answered one after another. At this moment, it's like winning the championship again. Happy, proud. Whose second generation has such a son like him? It's just too embarrassing. A while ago, Jordan and Magician Johnson met, and the first thing Magician Johnson said when they met was, "Michael, I really don't envy your achievements in basketball, but I envy your ability to have children. How did you give birth like Andrew?" His tone was filled with envy and jealousy. This can't be blamed on Magician Johnson, as his son is a bit restless. Andre Johnson, the eldest son, is fine. He is 196 centimeters tall and has frequently visited the Staples Center Arena since childhood. He is a loyal Lakers player and has been influenced by his father. He also has a certain foundation in basketball. Magician Johnson expressed in an interview earlier that he wanted to train his eldest son to become a basketball player and follow in his footsteps to enter the NBA. Although Andre Johnson enjoys playing basketball, in his heart, it is just a hobby rather than his main career. Compared to becoming an athlete, he is more enthusiastic about investment and has a very developed business mind. He graduated from Santa Monica College in 2002. Andre Johnson had a meeting with his father and expressed his unwillingness to become a basketball player. Magician Johnson also respected Andre Johnson's decision. And what gave Magician Johnson a headache was his youngest son E.J. Johnson, who had a problem with his sexual orientation and liked to wear men's and women's clothing. The impact of this fact took Magician Johnson a full month to recover, and he gradually accepted this reality later on. But without comparison, there is no harm. Look at Jordan's son, who was only 15 years old and was admitted to Stanford University, bringing Stanford University to win the 2010 NCAA championship. At the age of just 18, he ran for the NBA draft. 9 out of 10 can be selected. This had to make Magician Johnson envious and jealous. Apart from Magician Johnson, Jordan's former rival and even his teammates envy him for having such a son. Can Jordan not be happy about this? I was able to crush the NBA back then, and the son I gave birth to can still crush the NBA. In fact, Jordan is very optimistic about Andrew. After all, when Andrew fights, he not only brings shame to himself, but also to him. Give it to me, son. Jeffrey hugged Andrew and said, Andrew, you haven't told your brother which team you're going to yet. Jeffrey once asked Andrew, but he only replied with the word secret. Upon hearing Jeffrey's words, Marcus also leaned over to listen. He also knew which NBA team his brother Andrew would join. In the hopeful little gazes of his two brothers, Andrew opened his mouth and uttered two words. Secret. Jeffrey. Marcus. Still playing tricks. Marcus, go up. As soon as Jeffrey finished speaking, Marcus immediately grabbed Andrew. The two older brothers gave Andrew a chubby beating. Of course, it's just for fun. Juanita on the side saw this scene and a smile appeared on her face. Although she divorced Jordan, today is an important day for her son, and of course, Juanita also came to the scene to support her son. However, Juanita didn't give Jordan a good face. And Jordan didn't bother himself either, he just greeted Juanita and didn't have in-depth communication. The relationship between the two at this moment is the most familiar stranger. As time slowly passed, NBA President David stepped onto the center stage, marking the official start of the 2010 draft. The Washington Wizards chose John Wall from the University of Kentucky. In 2010, the top scorer was officially announced by John Wall from the University of Kentucky. In the 2009.10 season, John Wall averaged 16.6 points, 6.5 assists, and 4.3 rebounds per game, with a total of 241 assists, setting a team history record for the University of Kentucky. Elected Southeast League Player of the Year and selected for the first team in the United States. In addition, Wall is also a recipient of the Oscar Robertson Award, John Wooden Award, Bob Cousy Award, and Adolph America's Player of the Year Award, and has been named the Rookie of the Year and America's Best by Yahoo and competitor websites. And the Washington Wizards are precisely looking to choose a point guard as their core leader. The Philadelphia 76ers chose Evan Turner from Ohio State University. In the 2009.10 season, Turner averaged 20.4 points and 9.2 rebounds per game, ranking first in the Major 10 League in both statistics, and was elected as the best player in the Major 10 League. In the Major 10 League championship final between Ohio State University and the University of Minnesota, Turner scored 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists throughout the game, winning the Most Outstanding Player award at the Major 10 League championship. In fact, the Philadelphia 76ers were attracted to Andrew, who also played in dual positions, shooting guard, small forward, but Andrew did not go to the Philadelphia 76ers for training, so in the end, the Philadelphia 76ers still chose Evan Turner. The New Jersey Nets chose Andrew Jordan from Stanford University. In an instant, the whole field was boiling, and Andrew was the Tanhua. Jeffrey and Marcus hugged their younger brother excitedly. In fact, as Jordan's son, there was pressure, but when the younger brother took it alone, their burden was instantly lifted. The New Jersey Nets. Jordan showed a hint of doubt, it shouldn't be. However, Jordan didn't ask much and congratulated his son Andrew. After hugging his family, Andrew walked onto the stage. CEO David looked at Andrew as he walked, as if he was back in 1984. Time flies so fast. Congratulations, Andrew. Thank you. The two embraced each other, and then Andrew took the New Jersey Nets hat and put it on his head. In an instant, the New Jersey Nets had many more fans, all of whom were Andrew's fans. Andrew's fans were actually divided into two parts. One was himself, and the other was Jordan's former fans who could no longer support him. So now I support his son. A few hours later, the 2010 draft came to a close. Andrew gave a few interviews and then left. His two brothers were already prepared to take over the entire bar and hold a celebration party for him. Andrew also indulged himself well all night. A few days later, on July 1st, the door to the NBA trading market opened. Once opened, the first transaction appears. The New Jersey Nets, New York Knicks, and Golden State Warriors are in a three-way trade. The New York Knicks sent David Lee, Tony Douglas, Alabama Harrington, and the first-round signing of 2011, receiving the scout Andrew Jordan. This news caused a lot of sensation as soon as it was released. It turned out that the one who got Andrew's true love was actually the New York Knicks. When Jordan saw this scene, the corner of his mouth slightly curled up, and I said something was wrong. Andrew, who saw the news, had a bright smile on his face. I'm here, the New York Knicks. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Andrew's Clause. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Andrew's Clause. Andrew, our plan was very successful. Congratulations on finally becoming a member of the New York Knicks, Andrew's agent Schwartz excitedly said. In Andrew's freshman year, Schwartz was silently following him. In his sophomore year, Schwartz officially met with Andrew and said he wanted to become his agent. Schwartz originally thought that with his fame, he would probably hit it off at once. What is the result? Andrew didn't immediately agree, but instead said he had time to consider. There was no news for the next half-month, and Schwartz thought it was hopeless. The next day, he received a call from Andrew to sign a contract with him and officially hire him as his agent. In fact, Andrew has been studying the brokerage industry and getting to know Schwartz for the past 2 weeks. Schwartz had a background in law. During his student years, he first obtained a bachelor's degree in law from the University of Miami, and later pursued further studies at Temple University, obtaining a master's and doctoral degree. After leaving school, Schwartz worked as a clerk in the federal bankruptcy court in Los Angeles and also returned to his hometown law firm in Connecticut to work in the commercial litigation department under the firm. In 1992, Schwartz joined the renowned American International Management Group and began his career as a sports agent. For the following 8 years, he ventured into the tennis business. More and more star players have become Schwartz's clients, including the famous Sampras and Hingis. In 2002, Schwartz made another bold decision and established his own agency, the now famous Excel Sports Management Company. Next, Schwartz began to expand his commercial reach into the basketball industry, initiating attempts to collaborate with NBA players and becoming a well-known agent in the NBA community. After learning about Schwartz, Andrew finally made a decision and agreed to let Schwartz become his agent, but with one condition: that he must follow his own arrangements. Schwartz has no opinion on this. 2 years later today, at the age of only 18, Andrew officially became an NBA player. This made Schwartz think he had made a profit. It was a unicorn. It should be noted that in 2005, the NBA introduced a new measure to prohibit high school players from directly crossing the college league to participate in the draft. Howard and Jeff Green also became the last high school rookies in the NBA to date. This has also caused many talented players to no longer have the same treatment as James and Kobe before, and can only obediently play in the NCAA. The NBA hopes to reduce the situation where high school graduates rashly challenge the NBA before deciding whether to go through the baptism of NCAA games. Although high school players have good talent, they often face challenges in the NBA due to the lack of higher-level training. The fiercely competitive NBA lacks time for them to grow, resulting in a low success rate and high elimination rate for high school players. Secondly, the mentality of high school players is not mature enough. Many high school players start singing and even doing many exaggerated things after becoming rich overnight, which ultimately prevents these players from further developing in the NBA. The importance of culture. According to relevant statistics, after 5 years of retirement, the bankruptcy rate of NBA players has reached over 50%. Due to a lack of sufficient cultural knowledge, these high school players are not good at financial management, and after retirement, they do not have any professional skills, making their lives easily difficult and leading to bankruptcy. One of the main reasons why these students are forced to enter NCAA is that they must achieve a certain level of academic performance in NCAA courses, otherwise they cannot participate in competitions. Such regulations can also allow these students to learn some knowledge. Finally, there is support for NCAA. NCAA is undoubtedly the largest talent transfer base in the NBA, and with too many talents unwilling to wait for them to jump into the NBA, the attractiveness and talent value of NCAA have been decreasing year by year. If this situation is not improved, the NBA will eventually destroy its talent transfer base. It is also for this reason that when more and more high school students participate in the draft, the NBA immediately introduced corresponding regulations. In addition, it is required that the age of candidates for the rookie competition must be 19 years old or at least 1 year after graduating from high school. For various reasons, players over the age of 18 are generally not eligible for the NBA draft. But Andrew's situation is completely different. He has graduated from high school for 3 years and played for the NCAA for 3 years. In addition to leading the team to win the NCAA championship, he has also completed his college studies, which is a perfect spokesperson. President David wishes Andrew would soon enter the NBA. Such talent is amazing. Moreover, rules are set by people, and they are also broken by people. But there are still some people who question whether Andrew is not yet 19 years old, probably afraid that Andrew's entry into the NBA will shatter the youngest scores of his team one by one. Subsequently, the NBA draft directly added an Andrews clause, which allows players like Andrew to participate in the draft without exception. Instantly blocked the mouths of these people. This incident has further boosted Andrew's popularity. Especially Jordan, who couldn't even close his mouth with a smile, was so embarrassed that he walked with a hint of wind. "Thank you," Andrew replied with a smile. He didn't expect it to go so smoothly. After he announced his participation in the draft, he received more than 20 teams' trials. But Andrew chose to choose 3 teams from among them, namely the Los Angeles Lakers, Boston Celtics, and New York Knicks. In fact, he most wanted to go to the New York Knicks because they have no owners, and the city is also large enough, which is clearly in line with his development. Secondly, his outstanding physique and NCAA data, coupled with his own popularity, make it difficult for the management of the New York Knicks to sit still. Especially in recent years, their misbehavior has resulted in signing countless junk contracts and their performance is always at the bottom. The management of the New York Knicks is either being scolded by fans every day or on the way to being scolded by fans. Even being ridiculed by countless people for having too much money and being foolish by the New York Knicks. This angered James Dolan, who fiercely criticized the management of the New York Knicks and even issued an ultimatum that if there is no improvement next season, everyone should leave. In an instant, the management of the New York Knicks was eager for a superstar, such as Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and so on. But can they come to the New York Knicks? The answer is definitely no. Just when they were at a loss. One of the management proposals is to focus on newcomers instead. As soon as the words were spoken, they were immediately rejected by the crowd. Are rookies useful? We now need a super giant that can block the boss and fans. At this moment, the management threw Andrew's personal information to everyone to see. After watching them, they didn't think much of it, but it was only with the reminder of this management that they noticed Andrew's biological father. Basketball god Jordan. In an instant, a flame appeared in their eyes. Afterwards, they teamed up to the NCAA final and after watching the entire game, they decided to include this future superstar in their roster. So they began to operate. And coincidentally, Andrew also had this intention. Both sides hit it off at once. After a series of operations, Andrew eventually became a player for the New York Knicks. End of this chapter. How many more should I take from chapter 10 when I come back? You are listening at novelfull.audio. How many more should I take from Chapter 10 when I come back? Since Andrew became a member of the New York Knicks, he has frequently made headlines. But it wasn't until July 9 that Andrew's limelight was instantly overshadowed. Cleveland Cavaliers core LeBron James announced his contract with the Miami Heat through the national live broadcast special program, The Decision, hosted by ESPN, forming a trio with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. You should know that last season, they were the core leaders of the three Eastern teams. Last season, LeBron James averaged 29.7 points, 7.3 rebounds, 8.6 assists, 1.6 steals per game. Chris Bosh averages 24 points, 10.8 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 2.4 blocks per game. Dwayne Wade averages 26.6 points, 4.9 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 1.8 steals per game. Instantly detonate the entire United States, and even the world. Many media outlets have begun to criticize LeBron James for joining the team for the championship, while Cleveland Cavaliers fans have burned James jerseys and even angrily accused LeBron of defecting. Cleveland Knights boss Gilbert posted on social media condemning LeBron James. How many football stars have been recruited for him in these years, including O'Neal, Jamison, Larry Hughes, Big Z, Gooden, Vallejo, and M.O. Williams. Among them, O'Neal is widely known. Although he did not have the dominance of his peak period, he was still able to contribute an average of 18 points and 8 rebounds per game last season. Jamison is a scoring expert, with a total career score of over 20,000 for players. A super scorer like McGrady has not yet achieved this, with only 45 players breaking through 20,000 in NBA history. This means that he not only has strong scoring ability, but also maintains a good competitive state for a long time. Before coming to the Cavaliers, Jamison was also a player with an average of 228 points per game. DeZ was selected twice for the All-Star lineup, averaging 17.8 points per game. Larry Hughes was the Steeler King of the 2004.05 season, selected for the first defensive lineup with an average of 22 points, 6 basketball, and 5 assists per game, while M.O. Williams was selected for the All-Star substitute lineup with a record of 18.44 in the 2008.09 season. The Cleveland Cavaliers lineup is not bad at all. In addition to the lineup, money was also spent wisely. In 2008, the Cleveland Cavaliers ranked third in the league in total salary, with a luxury tax of 14 million yuan. In 2009, the Cleveland Cavaliers ranked third in the league in total salary, with a luxury tax of 13.7 million. In 10 years, Cleveland Cavaliers ranked third in the league in total salary, with a luxury tax of 115.4 million. For 3 consecutive years, Knights owner Gilbert has paid expensive luxury taxes for LeBron James, but LeBron James just ran away, which really made Knights owner Gilbert very angry. I feel like I've raised a white-eyed wolf. At this moment, Andrew happened to be at home and had not heard the old man speak about it in his previous life. Therefore, Andrew couldn't help but ask the old man how he viewed this matter. The old man couldn't help but laugh and then sneered, "Only the weak would be like this. If I had gone to hang out with others earlier, I wouldn't have had to wait until I was 28 years old to win my first crown." At that time, Jordan had shown strong dominance since his rookie season. Although Jordan joined the NBA as a scout at the time, during his rookie season, he averaged 28.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5.6 assists per game. In the playoffs, he also recorded 29.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 8.5 assists per game. However, at that time, the Bulls lost 1.3 to the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs. So in the 85.86 season of the second year, Jordan was injured and missed most of the season. In the final playoffs, the Bulls lost 0.3 to the Boston Celtics in the first round and were eliminated. And in the following season, due to the lack of assistants and suitable head coaches, Jordan will still find it difficult to break through the Pistons and Celtics. So in the 86.87 season, the Bulls were once again eliminated by the Celtics in the first round. In the 87.88 season, although Jordan reached his peak at the time, he was still eliminated by the Bad Boys Pistons 1.4 in the second round. In the 89.90 season, the Bulls' Pippen had gradually matured, and the Bulls had also received guidance from Jackson. However, due to the adjustment of the triangle tactics, they still did not reach maturity and ultimately failed to cross the Pistons' Bad Boy Army. At the same time, the Pistons' Bad Boy Army even proposed the Jordan rule against Jordan. Defending Jordan was not aimed at the ball, but at Jordan himself very directly, using every possible means. It has to be said that Wade really had to go through hardships and was trapped by the Jordan rule. So in the three-year playoffs from 1988 to 1990, the Bulls repeatedly fell at the feet of the Pistons, and in the end, Jordan was defeated for 3 years. Until the 1991 Eastern Conference, the Bulls and Pistons met again, and the increasingly mature and powerful Jordan personally pulled out the Pistons. 3 years of hard work created Jordan's invincibility. In the following NBA Finals, 28-year-old Jordan defeated Magic Johnson's Lakers in just 5 games and ultimately won the championship trophy. It is also these trials that have enabled Jordan to build a solid foundation. In the end, Jordan won 2 dynasties in his career, won 3-time, won 4-time, 7 championships, and 7 FMVPs. Upon hearing the old man's words, Andrew couldn't help but laugh. Before Andrew could speak, Jordan warned, "Don't learn from him, otherwise I'll break your leg. As my son, Jordan, you can't be so cowardly. Even if you have a strong opponent, one day you can overcome them." Jordan believed that LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade's peak alliance would bring bad atmosphere to the league. Maybe they succeeded in winning the championship, so the people behind will follow suit. Of course, Jordan can't control these things, but he can control his own son. "Don't worry, old man. Your son has thick legs, and if you want to hug him, someone else will come to hug your son's leg," Andrew replied confidently, patting his muscular leg. "I'm going to bring the New York Knicks to win 8 championships, and then I'll bring 8 championship rings to the old man and say to you, look at the old man, you have one more championship than you. Don't be jealous or jealous. Jordan. Get out." Jordan lifted his foot to give Andrew a kick, and Andrew instantly avoided it, ha ha ha. Then Andrew smiled and went back to his room to pack his luggage, heading to New York. He needs to go there in advance to secure his residence. In fact, the old man has a property in New York, but Andrew doesn't want it. He has to rely on himself. Jordan had no choice but to give up, as his youngest son had been very independent since childhood. Jordan looked at Andrew's back and then at his own hands. Did he miss the championship? Since watching Andrew's junior year NCAA, Jordan always feels like he is the same person he used to be, even slightly stronger. His strength lies in his height and arm span. Andrew is taller and longer than Jordan, and he also possesses all of Jordan's basketball skills. It can be said that one's debut is at its peak. How about I come back and get a few more? End of this chapter.